Oh, an error occurred with your guest destination. We found Tom Ginn. I'm still gonna say go live. I don't know what the deal is here, Tom. It won't let me. Yeah, something about your Facebook. You've got it. I don't know what it's in. It's oh wow, that doesn't need to be there. Yeah, let me. I think that's what happened. Yeah. Let's try this again. Hey, we are live, if I'm not mistaken, here, my friend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, so I didn't realize that was going to happen that way. But on that note, today is November 11th, and with that said, I'm going to do a little intro just to let you know who we are and what we're about. So and I'll just do a quick blast here, Tom, just to bring us in, and we'll just go from there.
Okay, got it.
Yes, and good evening. And that is Elevate Your Profits. And I'm Mark Gassert, and my cohort in crime here, Tom Ginn. Look at that. He's sporting the hat. He's looking good. November 11th. Interesting day, isn't it, Tom? A lot of people just think it's Monday, November the 11th. But could you tell us what today is?
Well, today is, in my opinion, one of the most important holidays that we have. Honoring anybody that's ever served, that's still serving today, our country, Veterans Day. And Mark, you're a veteran, correct?
Yes.
What
Yes.
branch?
United States Army. Went in 1981 and actually finished all my hitches or whatever in 87. I don't want to broadcast that. That means I'm old as dirt, but not really. Maybe you're a little older than me, but yeah, back in the 80s.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mark. Yeah, I was in the Army Reserve during the Vietnam era, 1971 through 1976. Did a lot of drills in preparation to be active. Back then, they had the draft, so they didn't have to activate National Guard or Army Reserve. So I got in under skin of not being drafted. That's a whole different story. Someday I'll share that with you, Mark. But
Oh, cool.
yeah,
I'd love to hear that.
but yeah, so I did 6 years in the Army Reserve in California, Fort Baker, right across the Golden Gate Bridge from it used to be the Presidio, the headquarters of Sixth Army.
Yeah,
Now it's
video.
just
Yes.
the Presidio. Fort Baker is where the generals had their yachts and stuff parked, and we were a port construction engineering company, putting in docks and that type of stuff around waterways. So
I
we're
would
right there
say
on the bay,
probably,
Golden Gate Bridge.
you probably didn't get a chance to go on any of those yachts, did you? Since you were a working staff, right? You probably just saw
We
them.
never got on any of those. Walked the docks and got to peer into them. They're pretty impressive
Right.
toys, I guess you might call them, for the generals and that. So,
Actually,
but we did a lot of work on the bay and out in the ocean, and
right.
building docks and piers, and we did work out at Alcatraz Island,
Yes.
Angel Island. We did work out there, and so that was really interesting, working in and around water and that type of stuff, having landing craft and cranes and bulldozers on barges and that type of stuff. It was pretty.
Stuff.
You had to know what the hell you're doing. Good thing I was a personnel clerk. I made sure everybody's orders were typed and submitted for payroll and that type of stuff. I wasn't an engineer, so.
Very
Eventually,
nice.
cut my orders to move into the motor pool because my buddies were all there. So that's a story in itself. Put my orders in a stack of other orders to the
I hear you.
captain, and Hodges signed it. And then the next drill, he says, "Where are you?" He says, "I'm in motor pool." He says, "How'd you get there?" "You signed my orders for transfer."
Oh my goodness. He probably
Yeah.
didn't like that, did he?
It was like a mass unit. It was kind of interesting. We had a lot of people join the Army Reserves and to avoid the draft and
Sure.
did more things in the civilian way than Army way. So we had fun, but we did a lot of drills, activating, what do you pre-activation drills, getting all the equipment on trucks and all that type of stuff. So
Very good. Very
yeah,
good. Well, that was one place, the Presidio, I would have liked to have gone to. I did get a chance to visit while it was still activated before it's now a park or something, right?
National
Beautiful.
Park.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I mean, I was like, wow, that would have been cool. I was a lot younger. It would have been neat to go out there. Of course, if I would have went to San Francisco, I might have wanted to stay there, at my young age at that time. But yeah, it was a neat installation for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, I'm just going to hop in here. We always talk about elevate your profits. You always ask me, what's it about? And just very simply, I'm going to keep this succinct and to the point. And I always write this out for me: to better people's lives and to be a force for good in the world. And since we're talking about today, uh, Veterans Day, uh, it is a special day. And in a sense, it's a sacred day because you're honoring those that have served before us, those that are serving right now. And as I also like to insert, those that will soon serve. There are those that are getting ready to take an oath and raise their right hand. And I think that's really cool. And so with that, I'll let you continue, but I just wanted to point that out and why we're making this such a big day. If you've ever known the history of it, I'll just insert this. And I know Tom will banter back and forth here, but this actually started in 1919. Uh, President Woodrow Wilson declared it Armistice Day to end the War of Wars, World War One. And a lot of people always ask, like, well, why is it called, you know, the 11th, November 11? And it marked a day where both sides of the fence, they honored one another. It was celebrated, but it's the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month when the Allied nations and Germany, they signed an armistice to end World War One. That's how it all started initially. But if you want to add some more things there, Tom, feel free.
No, that's 2019 was when that was declared, and then 1926, excuse me.
Yeah.
Congress officially recognized the end of World War One when it passed the current resolution of June 4th, 1926, with these words. Whereas the 11th of November 1918 marked the cessation of the most destructive, I can't even pronounce it, sanguinary, and far-reaching war in human annals, and the presumption by the people of the United States of a peaceful resolution with other nation, which we hope may never again be served. And it goes on and on. So is 1926, then we moved to 1938, an act was created, made the 11th of November of each year a legal holiday,
Right.
dedicated to the cause of world peace, and be therefore celebrated as known as Armistice Day, going back to World War I, 1954.
And hey, Tom, did you know, and this is something I looked up, National Veterans Day, the first Veterans Day celebration, like in 1947, you'll never guess where it was celebrated. Now I live in the South, so I would know this. They have a pretty good football team. I'll put it to you that way. You now I'm tipping my hand. Where do you think it would be? their football team won quite a few national titles under a certain coach. Birmingham, Alabama. So that's where the very first celebration was. And they had a Veterans Day parade in Birmingham. And it's known as the country's oldest celebration. So I did not know that. And it was for all previous military members when they got together in 47. But it was in Birmingham, Alabama. Actually, Tuscaloosa is the home of University of Alabama, but everybody in Birmingham, for the most part, they are Roll Tide fans. There's some that may root for Auburn that are living there, but I'm just kidding around here. But the other thing, when you get into this, is like in 1954, you were mentioning different dates. That's when Congress passed the bill that Eisenhower signed proclaiming moving forward November 11th is Veterans Day. So he was instrumental in keeping it that way. And later on in our origins, like, I don't know why it changed, but for whatever reason, in the 70s, what was it here? I'm looking for this. I think it was, Gerald Ford had to get involved with this and reinstitute the date, make it November 11th, because I don't know what happened. They changed it, or were talking about changing it, but he reinstituted it and said, hey, we're going to keep it the way it is. It needs to stay this way moving forward. And I thought that was kind of interesting too.
Yeah, Congress passed in 1968 the Uniform Holiday Bill. Was signed on June 28, 1968. It was intended to ensure a 3-day weekend for federal employees. And
yeah,
that's when
right.
it became a 3-day holiday for federal employees. And of course, that's migrated over to private sector as well.
It said here, this is what I was looking for. To date, for Veterans Day, it moved around in the 70s, causing so much confusion that it was in 1975 that Ford, he signed a law that it returned to the traditional November 11th day. And that started in 1978 then. They just locked it in. But what you're talking about is true, because it did float around. So they were looking for a day. I know that yesterday downtown Atlanta and different places had their parades due to the fact that today's a Monday, a work day. So some of them actually, depending on where you live, they did it yesterday. Some people did it today as well.
Yeah. A lot of veteran organizations and Legion organizations, they all do, they're all out doing different flag raising and parades, marching and that stuff throughout the different communities, because every community, like here in Oconomowoc, they do a parade and do a celebration at our Veterans Park. We got a beautiful Veterans Park here in Oconomowoc. It's one of the best I've seen for a small city. So it's pretty incredible what they've done and to honor the veterans, current and past and in the future, like you said.
Right.
It is a special day. We take a, we talked about last week is what are we grateful for? I'm grateful that we have a constitution, we have freedom and liberty, and those were all put in place by people that are willing to fight and die for the cause, the rights that we have. And we owe a lot to those that have sacrificed more than you and I, Mark. There's that have lost lives, limbs,
yes,
and more. And we owe a lot to them to continue this great nation. So.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of cool is it mentions here the difference. Like, some people say, well, what's the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day? And it's pretty simple, but Memorial Day is a time to remember those who were killed in warfare or died of their wounds they sustained in battle. That's Memorial Day, but Veterans
Yeah.
Day is a day when Americans are encouraged to honor all people who served in the military. So that's the difference. And I respectfully salute everybody that in some capacity wore a uniform and served. Um, I went in during when it was all volunteer, so to speak. We didn't have draft. So I do remember that famed day. They must have asked us 3 different times if we're sure we wanted to do what we were about to do. So then they said, okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. Then we took our oath, so to speak, and that was it. It was too late then. And there was no such thing, even in 1981, as the new Army. What was the new? They kind of laughed about all that, but they came up with these buzzwords. I just remember some of those things back in the day. But I'm very thankful, Tom, that we have people that want to serve, that continue to serve, that are serving right now. I'm very thankful for them. We have young people that go to service academies, whether it's Annapolis, West Point, Coast Guard Academy. We could go on, and others, choose to go become a Marine, a sailor, airman, space, soldier. And I'm very thankful that we have young people today that want to do that. It's amazing how our volunteer army without the draft, or I should say military, exists. It'd be kind of scary if we, if we had to reinstitute the draft, because a lot of people don't know what that's like. It was not funny, back in the 60s. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. I remember when I had a student deferment, and I remember being in my apartment when I was in college, and my roommates were all football players, and they eliminated the draft and they went to the lottery system.
Yes.
It was like dropping the ping pong balls out with dates on it.
Yep.
Like the first 265 days a year, those are all people that got drafted first one. And I remember one of my roommates, he ended up playing for the Oakland Raiders, but he says, I ain't going. He got his draft number came up, and he said, Tom, you can't go. They're not going to draft you. You're colorblind. He couldn't tell a red sock from a green sock.
Right.
It was quite a time, and a lot of controversy about that. And I enlisted in the.
And we lost Tom, but Tom will be back. While he's refocusing, we had a disconnect. What he's talking about, I remember one thing back. If you're a Washington Redskin fan, I used to follow them back there in the 70s. And I'm sure Tom will rejoin us. But what I remember most is a lot of those Redskins were in the National Guard unit. Here he comes.
Here I am.
Hey, he's back.
Something happened. There's all sorts of things popped up, and
it's a plot, man. They don't want us talking about this. Tom, I was talking about back in the day, back in the 70s. I remember NFL. You talked about NFL. I remember Washington Redskin players that played football, or even like Paul Hornung. He was in the National Guard unit. Or a lot of these players were, because they didn't want to go to Nam. But what's funny is they would finish up a game and then they would go across the street in Washington, D.C. to the Armory and then do their guard duty, their weekend guard or whatever it was they had to do. It's just kind of interesting. I think Paul Hornung actually got out of guard duty for a playoff game. Lombardi called up and he got him in there, man. I mean, it's wild stuff back then, but cool.
I recall that story to some degree.
Yeah. Eric, I will share this. I'll show this. That's Mr. Bam Bam. Yeah, I like that one. Can we get one? Tom, what do you want on your pizza? He's bringing up, he mentioned, elevate your pizza. So if Eric,
like a good Italian sauce.
Okay, do you hear that? Can we get something? Can we get a pic? Can you show us what it would look like? Eric, we are going to get you on here now, man. Come on. We need to get you on here so you can talk about yourself a little bit more because we know you're shy and we know you don't like to do that. But anyway, that's one of the things I remember in the 70s, all these guys that served. It was kind of interesting. Okay. And we're pepperoni and green olives. What do you think, Tom? Is that good, bad, indifferent?
As long as you got pepper. No, no, I'm not pepperoni guy. I'm a Italian sausage guy.
Okay.
But
He
I
wants,
would go for, pepperoni.
I'd
You
eat
can't
that.
go bad
That
with
sounds
pizza,
good
right?
to me. That sounds good to me. Should I expect
Green
someone to
olive
knock,
sounds pretty.
should I expect Eric someone to knock on my door and say, "Hey, this is for you"? Um, Seems you got a long arm within the pizza world. Um, but by the way, we do go just about every Friday over here to Peachtree Corners at an establishment over there. Uh, Gene and I go over there, and man, it was filled up to the nth degree on Friday. Couldn't believe it. Our weather went up to the 80s. So, but getting back to what we were talking about, Tom, I think it's interesting how a volunteer militia, military, is happening. And he goes, question. You've got 17 days until Thanksgiving, 27 days between Thanksgiving and Christmas. What can you accomplish? Oh, I think you can do a lot of things in there, Eric. I mean, most people are going to put it on cruise control. I think now's a great time to be talking to people, seeing people face to face, picking up the phone. If you need be, having virtual conversations. Hey, question for you. Since you posed that, or should we expect you then to be on Elevate Your Profits in that time frame? Because we'll send you out an invite.
And he's got a new book. I'd like to
A
find
lot
out
of
more about.
salespeople get paralyzed to the that's true. You know what? That is so true. And what's kind of wild is people now are going to be in their offices. Name the day, send the invite. Oh, cool. Yes. Yes. Okay. How about next Monday, which would be the 18th? Does that work? Yeah. There it is. He gave us his email.
Cool.
Okay. I got you down, man. I'm making a note here and I got it down and we'll send that to you.
And I'll send him the guest checklist so he can give us a little bio and links he wants us to share and that type of stuff. And we're out there to help support him and his cause and his mission, his book.
Talk about your book and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, Elevate Your Profits was established to help those that desire to be in business themselves, already in business, and we've interviewed quite a few people. And he says, I'm in. I'm excited to see you guys again.
Cool. Very cool. And we're looking forward to it, my man.
To have others share their wisdom, knowledge of why they do what they do, and hopefully it will influence somebody to take that step or give them an idea of something to do to make their business and lives more successful. And we've had quite a few pretty successful people as guests, and it's been quite a journey. It's been a lot of fun.
And he says look at this. This is cool. Taking the family to anniversary dinner. Y'all have a great night. I'm proud of y'all. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Eric.
And Eric was the very first person that I interviewed. That is a fact. So we'll have to kid around about that as well. Business hack. Watch this show every Monday. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I don't know if you're saying we're hackers or what we're doing, but we try. And I'm sure some people are probably looking at us going, what are these dudes up to? What in God's name are they talking about? And why are they talking about Veterans Day And I just think that, we should. It's a special day, which enabled and still does to this day, enables us to do the things that we do. We were able to vote last week. We are able to take care of business out there in the real world. We are able to take care of our families. I could go on and on ad nauseum. Oh, yeah. He goes, mostly for Tom's knowledge and Mark's. Yeah. And C goes, blah, 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 blah. Thanks. I appreciate that, Eric. I can take it. What do I know, right? But you're smart there because you should respect your elders. But anyway, what I was saying is just like that. We're kidding around about it, but we did get to vote last week, and that happened. People are out there doing their business things. People are able to go take trips, with their family. People are able to provide for their families. And it's great to live in this country because we have a lot of freedoms. I won't get into it, but I'm a big proponent of the First Amendment. And yeah, tonight we are exemplifying the First Amendment. And we are talking about Veterans Day. Some people don't want to talk about Veterans Day. I will share something with everybody. There was an anti-Veterans Day celebration somewhere. I don't know if it was within our nation's capital, but some people aren't into it. And that's okay. You can feel that way. You have that choice because you live in this country.
And be able to exercise your freedom of expression through voting, peaceful demonstrations. And Mark and I both serve to defend those rights, whether we agree with them or not. It's not the issue.
Right.
We do live in the freest country that's ever been created on earth.
Yeah.
Ask anybody that goes and lives in another country for a while, they can't wait to get back.
Yes. I'm sure we've traveled, and if you've been to other places other than the US of A, it is definitely different. And when you are there, like they say, when in Rome, you got to follow suit and do what everyone else does. You can't be talking about a lot of different things, man. You just go along with the flow, because you're a visitor.
Yeah. So Veterans Day. I just want to thank everybody out there that's either tag and share this information. We never know who it's going to touch, who we can influence, plant a seed, get some hope, some encouragement, some advice, some wisdom. If you got a talent or a skill, you want to take it to the marketplace. Being in business for yourself allows you to express that, to monetize your gifts and talents and hard work beyond measure. It's not the easiest thing to do. Sometimes it's easier to punch somebody else's clock, but there's a lot of freedom that comes with being in business for yourself, a lot of satisfaction in that, a lot of creativity. You have to be creative. You got to be open-minded. You're going to get your knees knocked out from underneath you. You got to learn to get up. You can learn from those experiences. They're just learning experiences. They're not negatives. And what can you do differently versus what can you do better, but what you can do differently is so important in business. And having the right mindset, that's where I like helping people better understand their belief system is going to determine the outcomes they get. If you say you can, you're right. You say you can't, you're right again. So it's really a lot about mindset. And I've started another venture. You know that, Mark. I brought it up before. Yep. Queue Up Fundraising. I just want to put this out there. If you're associated with a small nonprofit organization, you can go to queueupfundraising.com, find out more about my platform, how I'm helping small organizations raise money for their cause, their purpose. Be glad to be introduced to anybody that's in that situation, making decisions about fundraising, explain our platform and what it could do for them economically.
Right.
Also, I made a commitment here. Part of my life's mission was be able to give back um, to service organizations, both in time and in money. Well, I got finite of both. So time is very limited to how much I can serve our local community and causes I believe in. Then the money side. My goal is to be able to give legacy type giving to causes that are important to me. That hasn't occurred yet, but when I was introduced to Q Up Fundraising, the founder of the company, or the founder of Q Broadcasting, created a product to be used for nonprofit. So I just piggybacked on what he was doing and created Q Up Fundraising to help organizations raise money for their cause. So it could be a veterans organization. I reached out to VFW here in town. They're buying some property right down at the bottom of the hill where I'm at. They're going to expand their VFW post. So they're buying the corner lot, and their first goal is $400,000 to buy the lot. So
wow,
400, yeah. So it's a premium corner, and
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so they got a big objective. So I reached out to them today and want to introduce them to my fundraising platform and see where it goes. And it could be your booster club, it could be boys club, girls club, scoutings, whatever it is. It could be a service club like Kiwanis or any of those type of organizations. Shortage of people and shortage of money to do what they do. So I'm here to help with that. So tag and share this, qupfundraising.com. You can learn more about what I'm doing. I'm also taking 50% of my profits are going to go into a trust account on a quarterly basis. I'm supporting 4 nonprofit organizations that are important to me. T2T Foundation, St. Jude, 2 big national fundraising causes that I like supporting, and then 2 local causes. SOFA, Saving Others for Archies, helping families deal with fentanyl and drug addiction, those type of things. It's rampant in all across America. And then the local Kiwanis Club. So every quarter, 50% of my income is going into those accounts, and I spread it out equally between those 4 organizations. So if you subscribe just as a subscriber, know that proceeds are going to one of those or all 4 of those causes. So it's all outlined in my website as well. You can see what I'm supporting. You click on the link, see what those organizations are. You may know some of the organizations are St. Jude and Tunnels to Towers, supporting veterans, that type of thing. So
very good. Mostly for Tom's knowledge. Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us, Tom?
Well, that's it. I just wanted to say thank you for all those that are veterans.
Right.
Making that sacrifice in life, taking time away from your personal goals and objectives, enlisting or being sworn into going off to boot camp and training and deployment and all the things that go along with that. And you give a lot up in that period of time, away from your family and that type of thing. Hi, Robert.
Yeah.
So again, just want to thank all veterans.
Absolutely.
If you see one, hug them, tell them thank you. I wear my hat once in a while with my veteran thing on it. And sometimes I forget I even got it on it. And somebody says, thank you for serving. And I go, what? It's like, it's really nice being recognized as a veteran. So.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, Mark?
Well, I was just going to say, I wonder what some people did today. Did some people took off? Some people went to a parade. Some people probably went to a memorial and or a grave site for a loved one. A lot of us started our day out worrying about where we're going to make a dollar. And that's something I always, you ask what you're thankful for. My father served, my brother served, I served. I guess as I got older, I felt the need to do it. I didn't make it a career, but I was like, I need to do this. That's kind of why I did it. No one put a gun to my head because I didn't get drafted, but still, that's why I'm thankful for younger people. I really mean that. I'm awed by what I see in some of these high school ROTC programs. It amazes me that there are kids out there. Now, for them, that's a way for them to get a higher degree education, to go to college and to specialize in something. And I totally applaud them for it.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, we're getting the best of the best anyway. So that's even better yet. So that's the beauty of it. They're getting what they want, and then they're giving something back, and you never know, they could wind up making it a career. So, and if they don't, that's fine too, because, they have given back. I think that's the thing, for me is I've learned now that you can't just keep taking. You've got to give something back, whether it's your time, your money, and we talk about service to others. You'll see it on my Facebook, or when I send an email through Sales Concepts. I always say service is the rent that you pay, for living here. Service to others is the rent that you pay for living on this planet. And I didn't come up with that phrase, but I liked it. And it wasn't even Muhammad Ali that came up with it. It came up even before him. So sorry out there. I know he used that, but it's a cool tenet. And if you think about it, you can go back, biblically and read about it. It talks about it all the time, old and new.
Yeah.
Putting others before self. That's hard to do. There was a man that did that many, many moons ago, probably like 2,500 years ago. There was someone that walked the face of the earth that did that and created a following. And we all fall short of that. I'm nowhere near that, but it's just when you're around someone that's a servant, you've heard about servant leaders, and when you're around them, they're incredible to watch. They're never thinking about themselves. And what amazes me is, even though they're in charge, you'd never know it, because they're allowing other people to step up. And and you think that person's in charge, and they go, well, no, this is the person that is actually the CEO, or this is the person that's running this ship. And so there's something to be said for that. That's really about all I have, Tom.
All right, Mark. Well, yeah, just to say thank you for all the veterans out there that have served in the past, currently serving, and those that are going to be serving in the future. So much appreciated.
And next week we will have Mr. Eric Bam.
Yes.
The pizza man himself. So
I wonder if I have a pizza here to eat while
well, it would be awesome if he could do that. He could send one to you, send one to me. So we would go to Wisconsin and then Georgia, and then he could have one.
Where's Eric located at? Is he still on? Where's Eric at?
Oh no, he might be off. I've got to do a little.
That's right. He's going to an anniversary dinner. Yeah,
but that would be awesome.
Yeah,
to do that. He'd be pretty cool. But well, Tom, as always, thank you so much for.
Thank you, buddy.
Sharing your story, and thank you for serving. And to all those that, if you see this, you're probably thinking, man, these geezers are rambling. But no, I just want to say, in all sincerity, thank you to all our brothers and sisters that have worn the uniform. We greatly appreciate you, and those that are doing it now, amen. And congratulations to those that will soon be doing it.
Yeah.
We commend you. And with that, that's all I got. I'm going to say good evening.
That's it. Good evening.
Prophets. If you want, we can, close this out, or just I'd rather just close it as is, Tom, and say thanks to everybody.
Perfect. Good night, everybody.
Good night, and thanks again.